Our next panelist is Lisette Alent, who is the Executive Director for the Inland Northwest Farmers Market Association, a 501c3 nonprofit organization committed to serving the region's farmers market. The association provides critical support services to farmers markets, including the grant and contract proposal preparation, award administration, community awareness, and outreach and advocacy. The association also assists in overseeing a variety of programs delivered at participating markets, and these include Kids Eating Right, Nutrition and Exercise for Life, or Kernel, which is a youth-oriented healthy eating and exercise program originally developed by Catholic Charities of Spokane, Food for All. Another program is Market Match, which is a program that doubles EBT and SNAP purchases for fruits, vegetables, and edible plant stores at the farmers markets. And finally, the Farmer to Families Food Box. This is a program that provides, as we all know, boxes of fresh, locally grown and regionally grown food to nonprofit agencies that serve members of the community who have been most adversely impacted by COVID-19. Lisette, thank you for joining us, and please tell us a bit more about the what you do and about the Inland Northwest Farmers Market Association.
Thank you, Ramiro, for that wonderful introduction, and hello, everyone. My name is Lisette Alent, and I am the Executive Director for the Inland Northwest Farmers Market Association. I am also one of the co-founders behind our nonprofit. A little bit more about us. We are a 501c3 nonprofit coalition of 10 different farmers markets in over 325 small to mid-sized family farmers, ranchers, and producers that serve the greater Spokane area. So we serve an area of Washington State that is on the opposite side of the Cascades from Mr. Andrews there with the Puget Sound Project. So we serve the Inland Northwest that is comprised of Eastern Washington and North Idaho. So truly stronger together, we were founded in 2017 for the purpose of sustaining our region's farmers markets and in turn sustaining the local producers that sell at our markets. Our nonprofit applies for and accepts grants and contracts on behalf of our markets, allowing us to share resources, staff, and a common set of food access and youth nutrition education programs. So next, I'd love to give you an overview about our experience with the Farmers to Families Food Box program and the impact it had on both our organization and the community. So why we became involved in the Farmers to Families Food Box program. So the reason we became involved was simple. It was a way to uphold our organization's two-part mission statement in helping farmers and feeding families. So Washington State was on the brink of the COVID-19 pandemic when it first struck. The timing was also very unfortunate with our growing season. Many of our farmers had already started planting or had already had crops in the ground, and our market's plans for the 2020 season were well underway. Simultaneously, restaurants, schools, hotels, and businesses had closed, disrupting the distribution channel for many of our producers. Our farmers were calling us up saying that they were going to have to plow under their crops, or in the case of our ranchers, they may have to humanely euthanize their animals because they had nowhere to sell them to. At the same time, many people were losing jobs and struggling to make ends meet. With the uncertainty surrounding the pandemic and how it could potentially impact, or even a worst case scenario, close our farmers markets, we saw this program as an opportunity to be able to buy food from our local producers, help keep their businesses running, and simultaneously feed our communities when they need us the most. So for the past 4 months, so from about mid-May through mid-September, the Inland Northwest Farmers Market Association was a contractor to the USDA Farmers to Families Food Box program. During this time, we distributed over 7,700 combination boxes to families in need, totaling more than 155,000 pounds of fresh produce, dairy, and pre-cooked meat. 1 week alone, we had 17 different articles of fresh produce from local Eastern Washington producers. The box was honestly so full that we could hardly even close it before we loaded them up on the refrigerator trucks. So for the periods of phase 1 and 2, our farmers market group subcontracted food acquisition to Share Farm, a Spokane-based startup, and their partner, Adam Hegsted's 8 Good Group, for food acquisition, storage, and boxing. Those two companies then recruited participation by a nonprofit, Spokane Food Fighters, for direct doorstep delivery of food boxes to people who were housebound. Food was primarily sourced from a Seattle-based West Coast distributor and then 14 local producers who sell at our farmers market network. So during that time, we were visited by Secretary Perdue and staff from the Department of Agriculture who paid us a visit. And we were also celebrated as one of the only contractors nationwide who were able to successfully fulfill and distribute boxes within that first week of award in May. So meanwhile, while this was happening, so InLink Foods, a local inland Northwest farm cooperative, was also awarded a USDA contract. Our nonprofit, InLink Foods, joined forces for the continuation of the food box program in keeping Washington farmers as primary suppliers, with the majority of food coming from Eastern Washington small family producers. That in turn is keeping our local farmers sustainable, preserving agricultural jobs, and recirculating the federal funds into our local economy. Food is traveling fewer miles and going through fewer hands. So this last September, we debuted our partnership with InLink through a truck-to-trunk pilot program where we used our farmers market sites as drive-through distribution hubs for people to pick up their food boxes. So all 10 of our farmers markets are located in USDA designated food deserts. So we were honored and privileged to be able to use these as the community gathering hubs that they are. Our food box staff would pack boxes of locally sourced fruit, vegetables, protein, and dairy products. We then pass the box from a refrigerated truck to the recipient's trunk or the back seat of their car, and then they drive off. For those who may be too embarrassed to go to a food bank, this presented a very dignified alternative. So our partner, Vets on the Farm, which is a program of the Spokane Conservation District, helped us at our farmers market distribution sites with the use of their beautiful refrigerator truck and the helping hands of their veterans who are also farmers. Vets on the Farm even grew quite a bit of the produce for our food boxes. Within our boxes, we included a double-sided insert. One side would have a list of 5 ingredient recipes that we would curate. The recipes were based upon what was in the box, and then if there was anything that wasn't in the box, our goal was that it would be household staples like salt and oil. The reverse side would have a farmer spotlight that would feature a different local farmer every week, including a short bio, picture, and information about what products they have in the boxes and where else a consumer could find their products. So the impact this program had on our community. So through this time, we served over 1,200 unique households, most of which were coming from Spokane County. These were also households who were disproportionately impacted by the repercussions of COVID in that they experienced job loss, homelessness, air isolation from being quarantined. We specialized in serving households who had elderly family members and or children inside. So we worked with 33 different local and regional small to mid-sized family producers. These funds were reinvested in the local community. The contract kept our farms and farmers markets in operation so that they can keep feeding our communities another year. We were especially moved by the experiences when families would come to the markets to pick up their food boxes. Families would cry and children would dance when they saw what was inside. For many of the families, it was the first time they found themselves in this situation. These were households who had previously both parents may have been working prior to February, and then they suddenly both experienced job loss. We even made it on the front page of our regional newspaper the first week that we were doing our trunk-to-trunk site at the farmers markets. And our farmers were engaged in every part of the program, from planning it to planting their seeds and harvesting to coming and meeting us with their food goods, helping us get the food in the boxes, and even distributing the food boxes at our site. So when we say that your farmers market community has your back when a participant rolls up, we really mean it. They're involved in every part of the process. So right now, Inland Northwest Farmers Market Association, unfortunately, we are not a contractor. Our Phase 3 contract was not renewed, but we are serving as a last mile distribution partner for Star Ranch during this time, which will go through the end of October. And although it's not our farmers' food in the boxes, our local community is still continuing to be fed. So we have secured CARES Act funding from the Washington State Department of Agriculture and Spokane County Commissioners over the past couple of weeks in order to continue the program in designated counties throughout eastern Washington from November through December. And we will also be able to include a wider variety of animal proteins, including beef, fish, and seafood. That will be from Washington producers. So we are looking into the future about making this a year-round program if we can secure the funding, and where we are also uniquely positioned as a 501c3 nonprofit. Our hope is that we can connect the other local and regional food hubs across the state and be able to apply for and accept grant funds so that we can keep Washington producers strong and keep these locally based food box programs going by having an interstate exchange agreement. So I would love to share a little bit more. I don't want to take up too much more time, but do please feel free to ask any questions. I would love to share what worked and what didn't work and any lessons that we've learned. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisette, and we'll look forward to hearing you talk about that during the Q&A portion of the webinar. So, but appreciate the insight.